All right, what's cracking, fools? Welcome to episode 6 of the Don't Blame the System podcast, guys. So this episode, we have a very, very amazing podcast. It's gonna be pretty fun because we're gonna share some nice knowledge for you guys, so on how you guys can build wealth. Is that true?
That's right.
So what's your name? Let us know what your name is.
Stephanie Gutierrez.
All right. So what? All right, Steph. So okay. So your Instagram, the way I came across your Instagram, and the reason why it caught my attention was because it's pretty self-explanatory. It's literally Steph sells homes. So I was like, oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
She sells homes. So like I told you, I've always been interested in kind of the real estate side of things, just not. And it all started because of exactly where I'm living right now. Because you saw exactly
I saw the
opportunity.
setup.
Yeah,
So,
the opportunity. Yeah.
and just to give your
let them
audience
know.
a little backstory, and thank you again
Yeah.
for having me and
No, thank
doing
you for
this
coming
dope
on, yeah.
setup. You know, I'm coming from Long Beach, and we're in East LA right now, guys.
Yep.
So we're out here repping. But what I do is I specialize in ADUs, and I'll go deep into what that is all about. But when I pulled up here, I was like, oh my God, this is literally what I do for a living. Like, I show people how they can repurpose and maximize highest and best use for their property, which really just means like, how can we add more units or maybe convert a garage? Because as you know, here in LA, shit's expensive and it's just hard to even find a place, right? Because we're in a housing crisis. So I pulled up and there was literally like 2 units back here, and that's literally what the ADU concept is about and what we're gonna be talking about today. So I was like, damn, we're doing a podcast in an ADU technically.
I think it's
So it
perfect.
goes perfect. Yeah.
So let us know. When did you get started in selling homes?
So I started in real estate back in 2011 as a receptionist. I think I told you in our podcast a little bit about that.
Yeah, let them know where they can go ahead and find your podcast.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, that on YouTube. So I do have my YouTube and my Instagram, and I share most of my stuff on Instagram. But I do have a YouTube channel, Steph Sells Homes Podcast, attached to that YouTube channel, and that's kind of where I started sharing my journey. But I as I told you when we did the podcast together on my podcast, I started back in 2011 as a receptionist at a Century 21 office in Torrance, so in South Bay. And then from there, I started doing marketing for the newer realtors, started, recruiting and managing a lot of the newer realtors coming into the office. And then I decided to get married in 2011, and I moved to Palm Springs, and I did real estate out there, and I managed a few teams and whatnot. And then in 2017, I got divorced. I have an 8-year-old son, so I'm a mom too, and decided to move back to Long Beach. And that's when I started working for my brother's team and working with a lot of buyers. A lot of people were always asking me when I would show properties, like, hey, what can I do with my garage, or what can I do with like the 2 units back here, right? Like, how can we convert it? And that's how this whole ADU movement started. But I've been going at it for a long time now.
So what does ADU stand for?
Accessory dwelling unit, which literally just means casita, back house, garage conversions, things like that, right? Repurposing space.
Right.
Yeah.
So you get a space that you already have, and then you use it. In essence, you kind of have to remodel it a little bit to kind of make it usable for people to go ahead and
You got to
occupy
go
it.
through the city, right?
Right.
You have to get designs done, permitting process, go through the city, get the approval. But the advantage to that is that once you do it the right way, now the property value has gone up, right? And that's basically what I teach, because especially like our Latinos, and I know you have a lot of Latinos that follow you. And I grew up in an ADU too, where my dad would build another room every time he had another kid, but with no permits. So, I know that most people want to go that way because they're like, oh, fuck it, I don't want to go through the city. And they think that, it's going to be this big old hurdle, but it really isn't. Like, if you do it the right way, it's going to benefit you and your family in the long run. And yeah, that's what I teach all day. So,
Yeah. So let's backtrack a little bit. Were you doing something before real estate?
yeah, I did medical billing for a while, like after high school.
So you didn't go to college?
Just a regular, nope, I didn't go to
You
college.
didn't like school?
Um,
So let's go. Okay, so let's go.
yeah,
let's go
back.
Like growing up, you always grew up in Long Beach?
Yeah, I
Your
grew
whole
up in the
life?
I grew up in the west side of Long Beach. Yeah.
How was that growing up?
Your typical hood.
I had West Long Beach. That's not close to. Is that like right next to Wilmington, or is that on the
Yeah,
other side?
that's next to Wilmington
Okay, so
and
my
Compton.
So my last guess, shout out to official Slake Vape, was actually from Wilmington.
Okay.
So he was from kind of same area, I guess. So that's pretty.
Yeah,
cool.
same. So
Yeah.
I mean, yeah,
So
it was pretty rough.
I bet. What about like around what years were you like in high school?
I graduated in 2008, so whatever that is.
Okay.
Shit, that was a long ass time ago.
So that was like. So when you were. Cause okay, so for me, right here where I grew up, like, you know, it's not the best neighborhood or whatever, but it was right now it's not that bad as it was when I was younger. Mm-hmm. So I'm assuming is it the exact same thing?
Yeah. Like when we were younger, it obviously like you had the gangsters who would kick it in the corner and the skaters. It was like always crazy outside, and yeah, it was crazier. But now it's gotten calm, way calmer.
Yeah.
Like. The West Side is not what it used to be, you know.
Do you feel like we're gonna start with this word? You feel like there's a lot of gentrification there?
Hey, that's a good word. Why you gotta go there though so quick? You could at least like be a little more smooth with it. And I'm just kidding. But yeah, I mean, I feel like, you know, we talked about this too at the podcast, which is funny because I told you how I felt about it. Gentrification, a lot of people will take it the wrong way, but I mean, we can both agree, and people who can't agree, it's a matter of perspective. But if somebody's tapping into a neighborhood because they want to revitalize the neighborhood and want to make it better for the people that are there, right? Like, I don't see anything wrong with that.
Right, and so I guess
I just think there's a bad stigma attached to gentrification that needs to change.
Right, and I was about to say what that bad stigma technically is for people is increase in prices.
Right, right.
But the way that I see it is realistically, like, I don't feel like you should have the mentality that your salary should remain the same every year, like year after year. Like, it should go up as well as time progresses. So I don't see why that should necessarily be a problem for most people, and which is what the whole podcast is about. It's called "Don't Blame the System," which is what I told you at the other podcast. Is like,
which is what I love. Like, and I love that the title of your podcast show, because don't blame the system can mean so many things, right? Like, you can apply it to so many things, but that's one perfect example is that you can't be mad that your landlord is going to go up in rent or that they're going to come and revitalize the neighborhood. The only thing that you should be mad about is the fact that you're not taking action to do something about it.
You're not involved.
Right.
Yeah. Because that's exactly what I said. Like, if for example, if they come and they fix the house next to you, I mean, you can tell me if I'm wrong or not, right? If they come and they fix the house next to yours, does that kind of open an opportunity for your house to go up in value as well? Yeah,
for sure. So it helps. It's like a win-win. Yeah.
But what happens is when the house isn't yours, then you don't really care because you're not making money.
Right, and they're going up on your rent.
Yeah, and
right.
So I mean, we weren't supposed to get into it this early, but I guess we're already here.
We're already here.
So
we're cutting straight to the chase.
Yeah, so basically that's what the whole podcast is about. So we want to get your full story first, because I know we're gonna cover hopefully everything, but how was it, and the bad part about me is that I jump around a lot. All right,
no, we're good.
How was like the difference when you were living to where you said Lancaster or Palmdale?
Palm Springs.
Palm Springs.
Yeah.
Okay, neither. Okay.
Yeah.
so how was it over there?
Man, it was different. Obviously, it was just different. I was doing property management out there, HOA management, and it's just a different vibe, different people.
You were 6 years over
there? Nah, I was like 4 years out there.
4 years.
Yeah, like 3.5. I was married 4 years, so 3 of the 4 years I lived there. I lived for a very cool minute in El Centro, which is like the border right there between Mexicali and El Centro.
And that, like, south?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. It's probably like another hour and a half away from Palm Springs. But I mean, Palm Springs was, honestly, I couldn't stand the weather. Like, it's cool just to go vacation for the weekend, but I mean, to live there, I'm a Long Beach girl, and I just felt like I needed to come back. So I love it here now. I'm in a better space too mentally, because I was just also in a toxic marriage, toxic environment. So Palm Springs is like the dark days.
Yeah. So it's not the best memories of Palm Springs. Okay, got it.
So when you ask me about how's Palm Springs, like all the PTSD and shit comes up to surface.
You said you started off as a receptionist, right?
Mm-hmm.
But at what point did you you were like, I'm gonna start selling, or was it like when you were a receptionist?
No. So it took me a while. I mean, I was a receptionist working for other realtors and doing all the marketing. And then, I got married, then went to Palm Springs, then worked for other people, worked for other real estate teams and other realtors. It wasn't until I left my marriage.
Oh, okay.
That was really when, like, me leaving with nothing. I left everything. Like, we didn't have anything, honestly. We were like in a 1-bedroom right there in Indio, next to like where Coachella Fest is at.
Okay.
I was living in a 1-bedroom. And I left. I remember my ex-husband went to work and I was like, fuck it, this is my shot. Like, I'm leaving. And I literally grabbed Alex's clothes in 3 trash bags and I filled them up and I grabbed the car seat and I took off and never looked back. When I was driving from Palm Springs to Long Beach, I remember I hit up my mom and I was like, I made the decision, and my mom's like, te dije, pendeja, desde cuando que lo hubieras dejado,
Of course.
Of course. But she was like ready and willing to help me. And, my family supported me. I started working with my brother. And honestly, that's when I decided to get licensed. So it wasn't until I left my marriage that I was like, oh shit, what am I going to do with myself? Because being a receptionist and doing all these jobs for other people ain't doing shit for me. Like, going back to what you were saying is your income should increase every year. Right. My mentality was like just trying to survive because we were also being part of the system, right? Yeah. Like, we were on food stamps and all that shit. And so I was like, okay, I need to make a change. So sales it is, because I've been working shitty jobs since I was 15. Even before that, at my mom's flower shop, been working since I was 12.
Actually, we want to know about that.
Yeah.
It's because that's actually good.
Because that brings the hustle side out of me.
Yeah. Where'd you start? So when did you start working?
Honestly,
like
when I was like 11, 12. So both of my parents they're now citizens, but immigrants, right? Okay. My mom's from Obregón, Sonora. My dad's from Mexicali. I'm first generation. They speak English now, but my mom doesn't really speak English. They didn't really have to, you know? So, but the hustle mentality really came from them, from my mom always selling stuff. Like, she started off with the flower shop right there on Pine and 6th, and we used to go at 3-4 in the morning down to LA to this flower district and go back and hustle. And so after school I would go to her shop, and I was always the one translating for everybody and everything and all the customers. Till this day I help her sell flowers. Like, now she just sells flowers from her garage because she closed down the shop. But yeah, since I was 12. So from that point on, I've just had a shit ton of jobs that at some point when I left my marriage, I was like, okay, everything that I've done to this point is not working for me. Yeah. Like, there has to be something better out there, right? And I was just open to the idea. And that's really what helped me overcome that mindset, because it's scary, right? Like, it's scary going from a 9 to 5 or going from a life that you knew or you thought you knew. It's just habits, right, that we have, to going to betting on yourself, and you're going to go into sales, and now you're on commission only. Like, you're on your own. But I think the early hustle days is what really helped me have tenacity and like grit in real estate, because it's the same concept. Like, you're just selling a different product, but you have to have that strong mentality, because you're going to get a lot of rejections. It's going to be late nights. It's fucking sacrificing weekends. But I wouldn't change it. Like, the journey that it's taken me on personally now, because it's very personal development driven, I'm grateful for it, because I would have, I probably wouldn't have never done that had I not left my marriage and gone through a shitty situation, right? Like, now I feel all those hard moments in our life are blessings, because I'm like, okay, what is this teaching me? At that moment in time, it was teaching me to be better to myself, for myself. And then from there, the rest is history. Like, I sold over 120 homes or something like that with my brother in the 3-4 years that I worked with him. And then during COVID, that was another growth moment for me. I was like, fuck it, I should just start my own team. And again, going back to Stephanie at 22 and back in 2011, I didn't see that possible, right? As a receptionist, you see all these people, all these realtors coming in, teams and shit, and you're like, I couldn't fathom that I'd be able to do that too. My mindset was that tiny, right? And so, yeah, it's taken years of build up and confidence, and now I just try to empower other women and realtors and Latinos in general, because we're so close-minded. Like, my mom and my dad still don't take what I do serious.
That's crazy.
Like, ¿ya vendiste otra casa? That's crazy. But they don't see all the other shit, you know what I mean? Like, but that's just our parents' mentality. Yeah. Like, and so I've had to cut out that noise of what they think about what I do. I've had to cut out noise from kicking it with certain people. Like, if you want to make changes in your life, you can't keep kicking it with the same people. So I had to cut that out. And sometimes it hurts because it's family. It's fucking homies that you've had for 10, 15 years. Yeah. But if you keep kicking it with them, you're going to keep getting the same results. So unless you want to change your future, you got to change your environment. So that's really when I started 2 years ago. I was like, okay, let me focus on me and see if I could build out a team. And then I just started doing that and focusing on the ADU stuff and educating myself, like feeding myself knowledge. I didn't go to college, but now I know like my skill set is what's going to get me paid. And it's been working out for me because now, you know, I started doing meetups, started doing like speaking engagements. And it's just from shit that everything that I teach can be Googled. Yeah. Legit. Like you could Google this shit, but people will not take the time to do it. And so here I am, you know, talking about it, but simply because I put in the work.
What people, well, it's because here's the thing, like you can find it on the internet, right? But you would have to go to maybe 4, 5, 6, 7, 100 different articles, and people are like, well, she's just one article. That's gonna tell me everything. So that's like the way kind of people work, and I feel like that's kind of the whole point of this podcast is like, right. I've had to come a long way too. You know, I'm not where I want to be, but I'm not the same person I was, you know, fucking not when I started making videos, and not when I got out of high school, whatever the case may be. So I always like, well, the point is like everything that I kind of learned, because I've always been a very like observant, because like when I go to funerals, I always have to just stand there. Like there's not much I can do. Like I just have to literally just stand there and look at what people do, and I always look at what people do, and I see who, you know, who's looking at who nasty, like who doesn't shake whose hand. I see everything. Everything. So I've always been pretty observant, and that's why when something happens, I always try to like, you know, what was the lesson in that? You know, what was like, even though sometimes I feel like sometimes you kind of pick the lessons that you think you want to learn, but there's still a lesson in everything, and you have to.
And I feel like God's gonna keep. I'm gonna take this shit off because I'm getting hot. Yeah. I feel like God's gonna keep presenting the same lessons until you get it.
Until you learn. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly how it works. Yeah.
Like, so, legit, when I left my ex, I was talking to a friend actually on my way here. She's going through some shit, you know, women drama, but I told her like, dude, it took me a while. When I left my ex, I went back and forth like 3 times because I was just like used to that toxic relationship, right, and behavior. And so I just went back and forth a couple of times until I finally was like, all right, you got to get your shit together. Because again, the lesson will keep presenting itself. So you keep thinking that things are going to change, but you keep making the same decisions. Like God's going to just keep showing the same lesson until you get it. So you're right about that.
Yeah, that's 100% true. So I was gonna ask you, when you joined your brother's team, how long was he doing real estate for?
So funny story, I got my brother into real estate. My brother was working for my dad at the time. My dad's an electrician, and my brother was making like $10-12 an hour. He had just graduated high school. We went to the same high school because we're just 2 years apart. Okay. And
he's older, you're older?
I'm older. Okay. Yeah, he's 2 years younger. And I was a receptionist, remember? So I was in charge of the licensing course. So when people wanted to take their real estate license, at the time, you wouldn't do it online. You would go do it in person. So I was the one handling all of that. So my brother at the time was like arguing with my dad. My dad's like those typical, you know, Mexicanos que nomás se le iban regañando a todos. Yeah. So he would yell at my brother on the job. And one time my brother called me. He's like, yo, I can't stand my dad anymore. Like, fuck this fool. And literally, I remember I was like, well, I was on the phone with him and I was like, well, yo, they got this course here, like this real estate course. If you want to take it, I could actually get it sponsored, you know, because I was working for the broker and the daughter's broker. And if they would sponsor you as long as you signed up with the company after you had your license, which he didn't end up doing. He ended up going to go work for another team. But during the time I was married, my brother, that's when he started taking off. He got his license and then he started building out, working for a team. And then now he has his own team too. And his girl is a realtor. And one of my cousins who's a realtor works with him now, and her boyfriend. So we got a shit ton of realtors in the family.
Yeah, that's crazy. So you started, well, in a sense, you started him off and then you ended up like
working with him, right?
That's crazy. Yeah. That's pretty cool. So what would you think is the hardest? Because I remember you telling me, you said that I don't know, most realtors after 5 years they fail or something like that.
Right. Yeah. It's like statistics.
Yeah. So what do you think it's like a key, like I don't know how to put it, like what would be the key characteristic that didn't make you give up? Not just like, oh, I'm not the type of person that doesn't give up, but like there has to be like something like either you felt like real estate was really, that was your calling, or was it like, it doesn't matter, I need to do it?
It's that second one.
So was it when you started? Well, because I know you started as a receptionist, but when you started like doing homes, I'm sure it was not in a sense different, but
way different. Working on the sales side, because you're dealing with people,
right?
Their emotions, personalities. Like there's a lot of self-development that has to go into it. So I had to take a lot of courses on how to communicate with people, because being behind the desk is being behind the desk. Like that's just easy. I just got to deal with the boss, right? And their personality. But when I started actually going out and working with people, I had to really focus on that self-development to read people. So like what you do in the funerals, observing people, I got to do that shit all day, right? Too, because you want to make sure that you know how to communicate with the people that you're trying to sell to. One of the things that I think for me, what kept me going was that I have the contrast of what would happen if I didn't do it. Meaning, I would always tell myself, like, when shit would get hard with real estate, because it's not easy. If it was easy, everybody would it would work out for everybody. But when it would get really tough, I would tell myself, like, okay, it's either this or going back to being broke and being in a 9-to-5 and fucking hating my life and hating my job. So then, like, that contrast is like, all right, cool. I would just take a couple minutes to gather up my thoughts and then keep it moving, because I know that it's a long-term game. It's a long-term play when you're getting into real estate. It's like opening up a business, right? Like, you can't expect to open up shop and fucking kill it, you know, in the next year even. It takes years for shops and businesses that that have been established for a long time, right? Because it's not only a relationship business, but building that clientele for years. So like I have a listing right now in Torrance. It's a trust sale in $1 million neighborhood, and check this out, it's fucking crazy the way the universe works. The guy who called me to list it, he was one of the new realtors when I was a receptionist at the Century 21 office. He was one of the first realtors that was onboarded, and I helped him set up and everything, and we just kept in touch from Facebook and Instagram. And his parents passed away, and the house is in a trust. Guess who he called? 10 years later to sell the house.
So he never actually went with.
He never went through with real estate. Yeah, he never. I don't really think he ever like sold. And then he moved to Vegas with his wife and his kids. So he really never pursued real estate here. But we kept in touch through social media.
So how does that work? You said and I want to talk about very important that you said that you could either go back and hating your life, right? So I want to talk about that. But before I forget, right now, what exactly is that, a trust or a trust sale, or what exactly does that mean?
So it's pretty much something that most of us Latinos should be doing. If you have a house, put it in a trust. And what that basically means is you've set up some sort of structure and testimony and will to give certain people in that trust the power to make decisions, right? So like, for example, your aunt who owns this house, if I don't know who's under the house, right? Who's the name under, but you guys should put it in a trust so that it helps protect you guys, you know, because if for example, if he wouldn't have had it in a trust and they just had it under the mom's name or the dad's name and they passed away now, it goes straight into probate. Now the court takes over, right? And they will give like first dibs to the family members if anybody wants to claim it, but now you got to go through the fucking court and it's a process. And so that's why it's important to have it in a trust, because then you have everything in writing, right? If anything was to happen, who's making decisions, and if anybody wants to sell or make any movement, everybody has to sign off on the trust agreement. You know,
the thing I feel like that, like you said, like, you know, most people, especially not just Latinos, but people in general should just have that.
Oh, for sure.
Like the thing is, especially like me being in the funeral industry, is people just don't want to talk about it. People just don't want to talk about what if something happens. No, I don't want to hear that. Like, fool, what the fuck you mean? Like, it's gonna happen, fool. Like, what do you, like, you cannot run from it. You cannot hide from it.
It's just a mentality. Like, my dad should have his house under trust too, you know?
Yeah.
But try talking to him about it.
I was about to ask you that. What do you think would happen if you were to try telling them?
You'd be like, no, esas chingaderas no sirven. like, what do you mean?
Like ya está mi nombre, ya pa que.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So okay, so you said going back to hating your life.
Yeah.
So
damn, that was deep. Huh?
Yeah, that was deep. That was deep. That's why it stuck.
Yeah.
So
yeah. But I ain't lying, and I know, because here's the stats: 70% of people hate their job.
Okay, yeah. So we're gonna.
So we're just talking numbers here. I ain't lying.
So how would you describe, and not to put my last guest. I love my last guest, by the way. My last guest, you have to check. His name is Vic. Vic, I fucking love you. You're amazing. Honestly, I'm being honest. Like he's a genuinely a fucking amazing soul, and that was funny as fuck. And we were talking about his divorce, and how his divorce was all types of fucking craziness or whatever the fuck the case may be.
Restraining orders and all.
I think so. I think so. Right, Vic? I don't know. Let us know.
Yeah. Write it in the chat. Throw it in the chat.
Yeah, put it in the comments. So what I was gonna ask you was how was, if you don't mind talking about it, how was your marriage?
Yeah.
Like
it was just toxic. Like
what does that mean though? Cause now toxic is a very common word.
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
So, and then I often hear kids, especially on the internet, how if their parents tell them to do chores, their parents are toxic. I'm sure that's not the case with you, right?
No.
So the reason why I'm telling you is because I told you, this is really a personal podcast where I like to get because realistically you got yourself out of there,
right?
And I know it, and I know the way it works, especially when you're in a toxic relationship. It's it gets, I don't want to say not from personal experience, but when I see that I heard it tends to get where people get addicted and they don't know anything else.
They call it trauma bonding.
Yeah.
Straight up, that's what it is. You feel like you don't know any better, you don't deserve any better. But I mean, obviously it wasn't he was hitting me and all this stuff, I would drink, he would drink. And so that also is just habits that we had that were not the healthiest, and we moved to Palm Springs too because we thought it would be better for us. But nah, that shouldn't have changed.
Well, I mean, I don't feel like that would help.
No.
Because realistically, what that sounds to me is you're leaving from the only people that would have helped you in that situation.
Exactly. And that's all you're doing. Yeah. You're oh, leave me alone.
I'll figure it out. We got this together.
Terca, yeah. Super terca. Okay, I made this decision to marry this guy, so now I got to put up with it. It's the dumbest logic. And I knew shit wasn't going to work out year one, but I didn't want to be part of the statistics. Here comes another Latina that's single mom, and so I stuck it out for another 4 years. I was let me try and work this out. And so he also is from Mexico. He doesn't speak English. So me trying to get him to, and he moved here from Mexicali. We went through the whole K1 visa, process. Te digo, estaba bien mensa. I don't know what I was thinking.
So you got him over here?
Mm-hmm. I got him over here. He didn't want to move here.
How'd you meet him? Over there?
Yeah, so his parents and my parents are from the same town.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and so having him move here, from Mexico when he didn't even want to, it just didn't work out. We went through a lot of growing pains together, and he had a different mentality, and I wanted to do real estate sales even at that time, but I just kept doing little jobs, being an assistant or a property manager because it was a regular 9 to 5, and he would want me to come home and cook and clean and still be your Mexican traditional wife, right? And I did that shit. I put in my time, but
I did my work already.
I did my work, and it just, I told myself this is not my life, and I feel we just grew apart, and I don't blame anybody at this point. That was just my mentality at that time. And I outgrew maybe his mentality, right? Or I just didn't want what he wanted in the marriage. And I was young. I was 23 too. So, and I got pregnant right after we got married. So then that switched it up, Yeah. But it was a big growing lesson for me, for sure.
Long lesson. That's a lot of time.
That's a lot of time. Yeah.
Yeah, fuck, that's crazy. You see, that's why relationships scare me.
Oh,
I don't
trust
believe
me.
in
I
relationships.
know that now I still have issues with relationships because I got divorced in 2017. We're in 2022 and I haven't had a serious relationship. And I know it's because I have like this guard up and that shit got to stop. Like I got to get treatment for that in therapy. That's a whole other conversation, right? But but it's just like right now I'm focused on me. I'm focused on the business. I've never been in a happier space where I know I don't need anybody. And if I was to meet somebody, it's because they're going to enhance my life. And we're building together. Like you got your own shit, I got my own, and we are literally enjoying life together. We're not on that toxic shit.
Yeah, I was about to tell you that, like, I feel like if you weren't so much able to grow in the relationship you were in, and then now you see how much you can grow, like you're never gonna really want to lock yourself back into
Hell
that.
yeah,
Because
talk about it.
Because
like,
you know like the limitations that comes with that.
That
you know
comes with a relationship.
Yeah.
Because it really is, a relationship is like a business, right? And so before you make any business decisions, now you got to consult with your partner. Now you got to take their feelings into consideration. Now you got to take their goals. And I'm a mom. So right now it's me and Alex, and that's my main focus. He's going to be 9 this year. And I'm like, fuck, the time is just going to fly by. And next thing you know, he's going to be older. So I want to dedicate these next couple of years to my business, growing that, him, myself. And then the rest, I got plenty of time for it. Like, I'm no longer in a rush. At 23, I felt like I was just in a rush to get married and wanting to get the fuck out of my house. And, you know, like, you think that, especially as women, like, you right away want to feel that you're able to be a wife. And I'll tell you what, like, one of my biggest fears at the time was to fail in a marriage. You know, like, as a woman, that has to be one of your biggest fears. I don't care what you say.
Yeah, I've heard
you
that.
know?
Yeah.
So it was a big learning lesson when my biggest fear happened, which was I failed in my marriage. So after that, I ain't scared of shit.
You want me to tell you?
You know what I mean? Like,
you want me to tell you something crazy?
Yeah.
Your biggest fear is always gonna happen.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah. But then you overcome that fear and you're like, all right, well, that shit wasn't too bad. Like, now bring it on.
Exactly.
Life. You know, you're like, bring it.
You're like, what? I thought that was gonna be the end of the world. You know, like,
for
like
sure.
when you feel like bro, like that's the last thing I want to happen. That's the last thing I want to happen. You feel like when that happens, there's gonna be the last thing that happens to you. But no, there's gonna be so many more. Yeah, and there's gonna be you know, the craziest part is like sometimes when I make videos, especially so the reason why I started, so this podcast was meant to be before I started making TikTok videos, but I never got to it. And the reason why I kind of started it separately from the Dove guy is because I understand what, like I was telling you on TikTok, like about TikTok, like I understand what the people are there for, and the fan base that I got, they're there for laughs. Right. Most of them don't care if I talk about like life lessons, if I talk about learn this. There's so many people that don't even care to grow whatsoever. Like, they literally not in their agenda. Like, what? Like it's just like, oh, live life, you know? Like, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I don't understand how the fuck, like how are you supposed to be better, or like, or how, because the way that I see it is like, in order for like this is how I see it. Like, if you're stuck in level 1, right? Every day is gonna be the same because you're still stuck in level 1. In order for the days to be different, you gotta go to level 2. Right. And that's gonna be so when you're like stuck on the same thing without growing, you're constantly in a hamster wheel where it's like you're not going anywhere. You
just have the same year 30 times,
and all this
20 times,
all
10
this
times,
time,
right?
all this time is passing, and all this time is going on, and it's crazy. And I mean, I fell victim to not victim as in someone did it to me, but like I fell victim to like wasting time, you know, not actually.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like, I felt like that during my marriage and all that, you know, the dark days. Yeah. Because for a minute, I fell into the victim mentality, like, oh, this is happening to me. But now looking back, I'm like, nah, I chose that shit. We're all a product of our decisions and our choices. So once I owned up to it, then it gave me freedom. And I was like, all right, well, I fucked up there. Now let's start again, you know, and let's have a clean slate. Now I'm not as fearful to make decisions. And that's helped me in sales, man, because you got to be willing to go for it. And that goes with anything, with having to talk to people, having to do this podcast, having to put yourself out on video, having to, you know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of shit that comes with that too. And so you got to be prepared for it mentally. And it's just been a dope, like, learning curve.
So I like right now that you said that that's like important when it comes to talking to people, because I've talked to so many people. It's crazy. Like I literally like
I can imagine.
Like when I go to, especially to an event, I get, and I'm talking about full on 5-minute conversations sometimes with up to 10, 50 different strangers. Like when I go to,
well, these meetups that I've been having lately, I don't know how the fuck you do it, because I was telling one of the girls that helps me at the events, I feel like my energy is just drained after the events, because, you know, I'm up there speaking in front of 100, 150 people, 200. And when I'm done speaking, I got like 10 people that want to talk to me, right? And you have to talk to them. Like, that's what the fuck they came for. And then for you to be like, nah, I'm good. Like,
well, especially...
or not connect with them.
For you, and like what we're talking about, you have to talk to them, because those are all business opportunities.
Exactly.
All of them.
Yeah.
Especially if they're in that environment, that's a business opportunity, and you really can't let any of them
go. So, I mean, imagine like having to talk to 10, 15, 20 people. Like, you know the feeling, and it's just very energy draining. So how do you keep your energy without it being stained by others, basically?
You know what I sometimes tell people or what I tend to do is, when I talk to people, especially like when it's people that just want to talk just for fun, just have a normal conversation, is like, I'll talk to you, but in my mentality is, I'm not storing this conversation really. So that helps me a lot. And like I tell people, like when I go to the cemetery and I have to talk to someone, I'll be the nicest person. Like I'll literally be like, oh yeah, you know, yeah, this, and I'll turn around. I'm like, man, fuck this Sean, get the fuck out of here, dog. Like what the fuck, like that shit just happens. Like it's just it's just normal. And
dude, that's me too.
I think the good thing that you said was like you kind of have to just go for it, and it comes with talking to people too, because I guess a very, very like important thing of talking to people is you have to talk to them like, you know, you're ready to talk to them, or like if I go up to anyone and I'm like, excuse me, can
people can sense that shit, right? Like, you gotta come in confident. So that took years too of being confident and straight to the point. Like,
but I mean, I'm sure it takes years of embarrassment.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Embarrassment.
Hell yeah.
I've tried talking to so many people in public where I felt so stupid. And now it's so much easier. And I'm going to say that the mentality is exactly what I told you. Is like, when I go up to talk to someone, first of all, if it's my first time talking to you, I never met you. So what is that? Like, this is just for you watching right now. If you have fear of talking to people, this is how I put it. I'm 22, right? If I have never met you and I haven't talked to you, that means that I've lived 22 years without you. So I can live 22 more years without you.
Exactly.
So if the conversation doesn't go perfect, that's okay. Like, if we go our own ways, it doesn't matter.
That was my thought process with you. Like, sort of God. Like, because, you know, Steven started following me, but I DM'd you and asked you if you were down to do the podcast. And I was like, it can go one or two ways. This motherfucker can say no, thank you. Or he could say yes. And luckily you said yes. And thanks to that, to me taking action, here we are. Yeah. And so it's that mentality. But I could have been like, oh no, what if he says no? Or, you know, your ego gets in the way where you feel like your fear of rejection. I don't care anymore. Yeah. Like, if you would have said no, I would have been like, okay, cool, next. Yeah. You know, like,
exactly.
All right, let's go on to the next person.
And I feel like a big part of that is kind of like knowing what you want to get out of something. Because if you don't know what you want, and like for example, what I mean by that is like, you want a guest on your podcast, right? Or someone that's going to share something, right? Yeah. So for example, had I said no, that means you realistically, you never had a guest on your podcast, if that makes sense. I don't know if that makes sense. So, yeah. So it shouldn't really matter to you, because your objective was to get someone on the podcast. So you should just be like, all right, my objective is to get someone on the podcast. That fool wasn't going to do it, so who cares? My objective is still the same. I need to get someone on the podcast, and I need to keep, and you know, whatever the case may be. And to be honest with you, I'm a pretty shy person. I would say I'm 100% a pretty shy person, but I don't talk when I go out in I feel like I don't like saying the same shit over and over again, but like whenever I go somewhere, like I'm very quiet, and people don't understand that I'm not the same person in my videos 24/7.
Oh, people gotta understand that.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
And especially
because I'm not either.
Yeah, You're not
No.
sales mode 100%, because then you'd be like a fucking robot and shit. Like
Yeah.
used to, we all have to fucking deal with.
Like you
emotions
designate
and
a certain
roller coasters.
amount of time and energy to be like high level and shit, right? But for the most part, especially in real estate, you know, going back to like what are some of the reasons why people most people don't make it, because it's a very lonely road.
Yeah.
Like you're out there showing property or meeting with clients or doing the meetups or doing the podcast. I'm always by myself.
Yeah.
Like, and I gotta be self-motivating. Yeah. And so a lot of people can't stand their own selves. Like, so I've had to do a lot of dig deep in, you know, like personal development to be cool in my own skin and like be cool by myself. And I do a lot of stuff by myself. So I'm not always like, you know, high level. I'm always like actually quiet, reserved, chilling, growing. And I only kick it with like 4 or 5 people that are also growing, you know, like, and if they're not, then I like to honestly save my energy so that when I know I'm going to talk to a lot of people, like when I have the meetups, that whole week, I'm really just kicking it by myself. Because I know that day of the meetup, I'm draining. Like, fuck, it's draining. Yeah. Yeah.
That's crazy. You see, I feel like that.
And I meditate a lot for sure.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
All right, guys.
Meditating.
So, we're going to go ahead and get into meditating in part 2. We're going to take a quick break right now, guys.
Yes,
all right. So thank you guys for tuning in. If you guys are still watching, make sure you guys comment, like, and subscribe to Don't Blame the System podcast. And make sure you guys check Steph's podcast. Also, Steph Sells Home on YouTube and on Instagram. So make sure you guys check that out. And we'll be right back, right, guys? Episode number 6 is brought to you by thedoveguy.com. So not only do we offer a dove release, but we also offer customizable shirts for funerals, guys. So if your dad passed away, your uncle, brother, tia, your grandma, your dog, or fucking you killed a cockroach and you want to get him a special shirt, let us know. We make customizable shirts for all types of funerals. Let us know the size of your family, the fucking size of the shirts. Just send us the pictures. So all you guys have to do is DM us at Instagram at _thedoveguy.com, or for a faster response, make sure to email info@thedoveguy.com. And if you guys need a dove release or a funeral video as well, you can go ahead and email us at info@thedoveguy.com. Thank you so much. Later. Yo, what's cracking, fools? Welcome back. So shout out to our sponsor for sponsoring episode number 6. Make sure you fools check them out. Yo, check it out. So before we left, we got left on a cliffhanger. Okay, meditation. You fools know what the fuck meditation is? So look, I heard meditation is amazing, right? I've personally tried sitting down on the floor, crossing my legs. I never really achieved anything. I don't know what the fuck I'm supposed to do. But what does that mean? What does that mean when someone like
meditates? Yeah. So I mean, meditation can mean many different things. That's what I like about it, because meditation doesn't have to be somewhere where you actually sit and you're like fucking crossing your legs and, you know, and meditating. Yeah, and doing that. Exactly. No. Meditating can be in very different ways, and what works for me is meditating means like practicing no thought, right? And at the beginning I started off with just 5 minutes, you know, and I could barely keep up with 5 minutes. And you don't necessarily have to be, you obviously want to be in a relaxed state of mind, whatever that means. It could be sitting down. Sometimes I do it out of my car. That's like the best. And I'll be like parked in front of the ocean somewhere, and I first you have to practice not thinking about anything. The whole purpose of meditation, for me at least, has been blocking out the noise. You know, like I like to say, like as a mom, you know, you ever hear a lot of moms, like you can see a mother who has a son with fucking chaos, right? Like toys and making all kinds of noise, and she's not even bothered by the noise, right? Think of all that noise about the toys and the kids making noise. At some point, the mother can literally phase out that noise. I look at that as all your negative thoughts, all the shit that worries you, all the stress. I quiet my mind and I shut out all that noise by practicing no thought. Because honestly, like I feel most of our thoughts and the things that we think are gonna happen never happen. Like I don't know what the stats are on that, but I think it's like 99%, 98% of the shit that you think is gonna go wrong never goes wrong. It's just our mind. Our mind is wired to think negatively all the time and always go worst case scenario, because this shit is on survival mode. So when you can quiet your mind and not practice any thought, you know, I started off with 5 minutes. Now I could do a full hour and just not think about shit. And that helps me.
You mean no thought, like your mind is like blank? Like no,
yes,
like,
to where you and the way you do it is you got to ground yourself. You start off. It's like going to the gym, right? You can't expect to not think about anything. And I know it sounds crazy to you right now because you're like what the fuck? Like you're like, do you take out the USB or what?
I could use 5 minutes of a blank brain. I wouldn't mind that. That would be amazing.
I mean, like low key, what I do is just like do shrooms and shit, and black out. And I'm just kidding.
No, but okay.
I don't even do shrooms
because when you say no thought, because okay, so. Exactly what you're saying.
Let me elaborate
is
on
me.
that.
Yeah,
on the no thought.
Yeah, but exactly what you're saying is me. Like, most of my thoughts are negative. Always.
Always.
And I have to.
That's everybody.
Stop. Like, I have to literally like relax, like stop. Like,
yes.
And you kind of have to. So, I've tried meditating as a form of like, let me sit down and think, only good things, and I mean. Fucking, I've been thinking about good things, and then you just see a random ass fucking missile in the back of my head with the deepest, darkest thought come out of nowhere, and it just fucks everything up. And I'm like, dude, we were doing fine. I was thinking about the beach and flowers, and then I have this fucking shit of like the most craziest shit just overtakes my mind.
Dude, I've been having the weirdest thoughts too.
Yeah, so, no thought sounds amazing. So
yeah.
Elaborate.
So fuck good thoughts and bad thoughts.
Yeah.
Practice no thought. And the way you do it is you've got to focus for starters and beginners, right? You want to ground yourself and always come to the present moment. So how do you practice no thought? You first literally like start giving yourself gratitude for being here right now. Like be present. There's this book called The Power of the Now. If you guys read it, it's going to help you with having no thoughts and being able to welcome new thoughts. It's like a computer. Like literally our shit is wired a certain way, and you've got to, in order to update it, right, you've got to let that shit turn off in order for it to update. So we really have to update our thoughts, and the only way to let new thoughts in and let the old ones out is by calming your mind. So how can I describe no thought? Like right now I could practice not thinking about anything else besides us being right here, right now, and being fully present and being grateful that I'm breathing. I got my senses. I'm talking to you. We're here recording this podcast. I'm super present right now. I ain't thinking about shit, right? So it's really just doing that. But you got to do it in a very relaxed setting. And you get better with time to the point like where you can do it. But it helps me a lot in my business because, like, even this morning, you know, I have so much shit. And I was texting you around the time when I finished my workout and my meditation. And sometimes my mind always tells me, like, nah, don't go meditate. Fuck that shit. Like, you got to get straight to work because you got to get back to all these clients. You got to do mommy duties. You got to do this and that. But I tell myself, if I don't take that 30 minutes or an hour, then the rest of my day is going to be out of whack. Because now I'm just going to be, like, anxious or too many thoughts in my head. Like, really taking that 1 hour for me and focusing no thought process has helped me a lot. Like, then I can take on the day like nothing, you know, because I gave myself that calmness. And especially for what I do in business, people are coming to me to make life decisions on their assets, right? And their real estate. They don't want somebody that's all fucking nervous and stressed out. They want somebody who's calm, collective, and is in a good space mentally, right? And the only way to get there is through creating habits. So every day I gotta meditate, and every day is a fucking struggle because my mind tells me don't do it, don't go work out, like every day. So it never gets easier. People are like, oh, does it get easier? No, fuck no. But what does get easier is you build this stamina where, like I was telling you when we were not recording, you kind of look at your life as a third person. So now I operate as that. Like, okay, if I was my own coach, what would I tell myself? Get your ass up, go meditate, work on your health, work on your mental health, because it's not just about the physical. Because then when you're good mentally and physically, now you can operate in the world and you can do shit and you can have better conversations and do better stuff.
And I feel like this podcast will kind of like...
I'm having so much fun, by the way, because my podcast, if you guys do go to my channel, is totally fucking different vibes, right? You got to be really professional, fool.
So look, fuck, I forgot what I was going to say. I was gonna say
fuck, my bad.
No, you're good. Yeah, I hate when that happens.
We were talking about meditating and practicing no thought and how it doesn't get harder. I mean, it doesn't get easier. Right. It still gets harder. I was going to
say, like, I feel like things, especially good, when you try to do something good, it's not that things get easier. It's that you kind of get more used to it being a part of your routine.
Yes.
So like for example, like working out in the morning isn't gonna get easier, but the more you do it, like the earlier you're actually gonna wake up, like because your body's gonna get used to waking up early. Like so it's not gonna get easier, but it's still gonna create that habit. And once you have a habit, in a sense, it does make everything easier.
There's this book called Atomic Habits. And I've read that shit like 4 times, and I still read it when I need help because it's an ongoing process.
Is that the one you told me?
Mm-hmm.
I do have it.
Okay.
I thought
that book is gonna help you a lot because it talks about habit stacking. So what does that mean? Like we all brush our teeth every day.
Right? I saw that.
So
I saw that. Yeah.
You brush your teeth. During that time when you brush your teeth, attach a new habit to it, whether it's working out or fucking telling yourself affirmations or listening to a podcast that's for personal development. Yeah. Do it while you're brushing your teeth. Like attach a new habit to stack it, right? That's what it's called, habit stacking. Stack it to another habit that you already implement in your life that you know for sure you're going to do. Like, we're all going to take a shit every day. So that's a must.
I have a...
like, do that and attach some habit. Some
book,
reading or something.
I have a book next to my toilet on the line. I swear on everything is right there.
All right. Well, there you go. Atomic Stacking 101.
Now, the hard part is picking the book over my phone.
Yeah.
Because it's there.
Yeah.
But my phone is in my
exactly.
pocket.
Now it's tough decisions. Yeah.
So, another thing. So like you said, what's like... Like I'm sure like we've all seen, you know, the videos on the internet and shit, you know. If you want to be successful, you gotta be rich, you gotta wake up early as fuck. What time you wake up?
Nah,
what time do you wake up?
I wake up like at 5:30
That's
or
early
6.
as fuck.
Really?
Yeah. What's earlier than 5:30?
Well, to me, 4 o'clock is early.
That's like, early.
Yeah, these guys.
But I mean,
at least in the real estate space, you know, the ones that are out there like putting all this, like, you got to wake up at 3 a.m. and fucking early and work.
I mean, there's a huge benefit.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. But for me, my structure and my schedule is pretty normal. Like from 5:30 to 8 a.m., I don't do shit that has to do with work. It's all my personal development time. So then if I wake up later, then I'm kind of cutting into my personal time, right? So from 5:30 to 8, I don't do shit. From 8 to 9, I'm working out. From 9 to 10, I'm getting ready. And I'm always listening to stuff. So whether I'm running or driving, it's also about what you're feeding into your life, you know? So I'm always listening to a podcast, or I go on Clubhouse a lot. And then from there, I go work at the office, or I'm out showing property usually from 10 to 1. And then I take a break, like 2 hours, and then later I get back to it, or I'm doing a podcast. I'm always doing something. Right. Like in my calendar, I have pretty much time blocked every 2 hours doing something different. But it's not just time blocking on the calendar. It's also time blocking my thoughts. So if I'm going to be a mom and dedicate time to my son from 2 to 4, I'm like literally present with Alex. Like we're doing some shit from 2 to 4. We're going to the park. We're working together. We're like, you know, doing fun stuff together. But that's the time I'm dedicating. And it's hard. It's hard for people because right now, like even with my team, I talk to them like, what's some of the struggles that you guys got right now? Focusing. Like they put it on their calendar, but then they don't do shit. Like either, you know, the gym or the meditating. And every single aspect of my life matters, not just the business. And I can't actually function in business if I'm not good mentally.
Oh, that's what I was gonna say. Stop. Yeah. I'm sorry. But look, sorry. So the podcast, you said that it's important to work on yourself mentally and physically, right? Mm-hmm. Both very important. So the whole point of this podcast is that, especially as guys, there's no such thing, right? Like it's just like full shut the fuck up and get up, stop crying. Like it is what it is. like that's technically how it works.
Right. But I grew up with 2 brothers.
Yeah, but I mean, in reality, that is the key secret to it. Is just you have to go up and do it. But like, there's better ways of working towards actually being able to actually like achieve that. And like you said, a weird feeling that I've been feeling that this past couple week has been very thought heavy, like negative thoughts. Like for me personally, like it's just been like so like horrible, like just horrible. Like all day is just horrible thinking, and in the mornings, maybe like 6 months ago or a year ago, you're never gonna see me running. Never. You would have never seen me running. You would have, and this is what I said. Like, I'm not the same person I was 2 years ago. Before the pandemic hit, you would have never caught a book in my hand. Never.
Now you got a book in your fucking toilet. Yeah.
I haven't finished it, but it's there. And I'm more than halfway done, so that means I read it. So that's good. So.
Dude, same. I can relate on that because where we were brought up, right, and where I came from, we didn't fucking read books. We didn't have affirmations. We didn't have meditation. We didn't have any of that shit. Like, there was riots in my high school. That's how people meditated.
Yeah.
you know?
I remember when I was in middle school. Like, I never understood this shit.
Yeah.
This was the stupidest shit to me. Like, this shit did not make sense. So when I was in middle school, there was like the middle school that I was in was like kind of beefing with like another middle school, right?
Oh
okay.
Yeah, same.
Okay, so these fools decided to have a rumble, right? And I was there and I was sitting down and I still remember my thought process exactly. And this was like fucking I don't know how many years ago. I was like in 7th, 8th grade, and I said, "Hold up, motherfucker, hold up. You fools like this school so much, you're gonna fight for it? I don't even want to be here. Why the fuck am I gonna fight for this shit? Like, this shit makes no sense whatsoever."
Right.
And for these kids, it wasn't even about the school. It was just so many of these fools grew up with violence that they were like, let's fucking do it.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Like 100%. And to me, I didn't grow up in honestly in a violent. I grew up with an alcoholic father that fucking there was a lot of like fear implemented at me as a kid, but it was never no physical fear or no fighting, no nothing like that. So when I was like, hold up, like, why are you guys fighting for this place that doesn't even give a fuck about us? Like, I didn't really understand. And then later on, I kind of got it as like, you fools were just you were just trying to fucking be fools. Like, people were just trying to be like fucking crazy for
creatures of habit.
Yeah,
like. That's all they knew. I grew up around that era too. In middle school, everybody was like taggers and fucking the skaters against, the blacks and the whites and the Mexicans versus the Samoans.
Right. Well, I'm sure where you're from, it was a lot more diverse.
Oh,
where I'm
for
from,
sure.
It was all Mexicans, really.
No, we only had about 2 white people in our high school. But everybody else was blacks, right? Samoan and black and Mexican, for sure, in our high school. But like a lot of the people that I grew up with, we weren't reading books. We were not out there like going to college and, getting an education. And all of this has been self-taught with just life experiences. And like, if you want to do better, that's good that 6 months ago you were somebody completely different. Exactly. And it's also scientifically proven that if you run, it produces, endorphins. So it makes you feel better. So I know like this morning, every morning is a struggle. I don't want to go for a run. I don't. Like, I swear to God, I don't. My mind is just like, just sit in the car a little bit longer. But keep scrolling.
So what I'm going to tell you was, sorry to interrupt you, but like this, like the fact that these couple of days were so hard, like I shit you not, I'll wake up in the morning and to me, and I recommend this to anyone, that if you wake up and you feel like you just want to get out running. Like, literally, that's how I felt. Like, when I would wake up, and then, like, the moment I wake up, the moment I wake up, I already feel the thoughts coming in. Like, not, and I wish well, that's what kind of what we're working for, is to be able to control them and whatnot. But, like, they just come in immediately, and they just overflood. And then I was in here, and I was like, fuck. I was like, I don't even want to I don't want to go run. But I felt something in me that kind of like I wanted to run away so bad that I just went to go run. Mm-hmm. And I went to go run, and I came back and I took a shower, and then that's it.
And then it went. That's it. Yeah, you got over it.
You ready? You. So like I recommend to people, because like some like especially a lot of people, like especially when you're lazy, that's when you have to do something.
That's when you got to do it even more.
Yeah, that's the hardest part, and that's when people don't.
Like I tell myself in the car when I don't want to go running, I'm like, you're gonna feel better after the run, so just fucking do it.
That was me today. In the morning. I didn't want to do it, but something in me was like, fool, one, I was like, I know my thoughts are already coming in, and I know that if I don't go run, they're gonna come in, and they're gonna keep coming in, and they're gonna keep coming in harder.
Right.
So I was like, so I know it's gonna keep getting worse, or I could literally just stop it right here, and then fucking, and it helps. And you would have told me fucking 3 years ago, fucking. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like when the pandemic hit, I started working out. My crazy story. I remember I've never worked out. Like, it was just like,
yeah.
It was like, I was like, for what? Like, what the fuck? I'm not even trying to impress nobody. I was like, I don't care. Like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like, but it's kind of that we don't think that it does anything mentally, but it does more.
It's mentally, everything. Yeah.
Working
like, honestly, the cherry on top is that you end up looking better by running.
Literally.
But that's the cherry on top. Because all the internal work that it does for your mind. I
can't tell you how many times I've been running, and then I'm like, I'm about to give up, and then I'm like, nah. Don't
keep it going.
Your feet can't stop until you get to that post or what. Because I literally go run to the cemetery. There's a cemetery down the street from my house. So in the morning, I literally just go run over there and then do a lap. And then and sometimes it's uphill. And then I'll be like, look, if I want to do something, like, and I'm doing this as I'm running, I'm like, if I don't want to give up in life, I have to not give up while I'm running. And now push myself, like, to run that extra thing. That, like, even I'll be like, step over that line, and I'll step over the next line. Fuck it, over the next line. And even if it's just the next step, but it helps so much more, like, mentally. So when, like,
what's those baby steps to help you make bigger decisions in life? So to answer your question about, like, what defines success, is you being able, and success is different for everybody, right? But for me, it's the freedom of time and to be able to be self-aware, you know? So when you're running, you're teaching yourself in baby steps. Like, okay, I'm teaching myself to just keep running, keep going. Like, don't stop. So then in real life, right, for big life decisions and shit that's thrown your way, you're going to know how to react better, you know, because you don't give up. And so you apply the same rules, right, that you do for running. Yeah. But it starts with the baby steps. And most people can't even run. So how the fuck are you going to tackle the day when you won't even take the time of day to make yourself better, you know? It's a struggle, though. Cause
I feel like the important part is you have to give yourself time in the morning to do it. Because if you work at 8 or you work at 8:30 and you wake up at 7:30, there's no time to work out. There's absolutely no time whatsoever to work out. And people are gonna be like, well, how the fuck am I supposed? If I work at 8, why do I?
Then you gotta wake up an hour earlier.
Why how should I do that? Mm-hmm. Well, you gotta go to sleep an hour earlier. I don't sleep here, right? This is where I sleep over there. I rent both of them, so I sleep over there, and I leave my phone here in the night. I don't take it over there.
Oh, okay.
And that's something that I started doing recently.
You know what I do? I put my shit on airplane mode, and then I just leave it right there by the room. But I have it on airplane mode.
So the thing is, I know I always tell people, and I told you, we know what we have to do. Mm-hmm. I know that if I put it on airplane mode right there, I'm gonna turn airplane mode off and I'm gonna fucking keep using it.
Yeah.
So I literally leave it here and I go over there, and people tell me people have asked me, but like sometimes I ask myself, like, what if someone calls me in the night? And I'm like, you know what, fucking who cares? Yeah. This is 4 days ago, right? I left my phone here. I went to sleep. I woke up the next morning. I came over here and I tried to not touch it first thing in the morning.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, what I work in is just so much that I have to check. Did someone fucking inquire about this? Maybe I got a DM from someone that wants to do a sick ass opportunity. Like, so
I'm glad you brought that up because I think we both deal with that. Yeah. You know, most of my business comes from Instagram.
Yeah.
And every morning, and every day, I have to be active, but I cannot consume it.
Yeah.
So I got to post. I got to respond to the messages, got to respond to the DMs, and then get the fuck out. Because otherwise, I can't do everything else that I have to do in my day. Like, I'll just be running, scrolling, and I find myself consuming it. And I cannot consume it. Like, I can only put shit out there. Yeah. And if I do consume it, I got to consume it strategically. It has to be intentional with somebody that, you know, is going to be a business transaction or there's some good intention behind it. It could be something good for the community too. But yeah, you got to get smarter about how you waste your time, basically.
Yeah, because the thing is, in my space, there's a lot of people who would DM me and they'll be like, yo, I'm going to keep it about, I don't respond to them. I honestly, sometimes I'm an asshole. I don't care. So I
well, it's like what you were saying earlier, you know, in sales, or just in talking to people in general. People, if you don't get straight to the point and tell them what it is that you want, like when I DM'd you, right? I told you, hey, why don't we do this, and this? If I would have been like, yo, how are you? You would have been like, the fuck? Yeah. Bye. Yeah. That 100% would happen. But I already know, most people, if you just get straight to it, just cut to the chase. Yeah, you know what I mean?
And then people don't understand because they see me, right, and they're like, oh, this fool's on social media. He's a fucking influencer. He has to be on his phone. He has to be on Instagram. That's what it do. But it's like, you fools don't, if people gotta understand, that I want to be someone, fool. Like, I'm not trying to fucking be on my phone all day.
All
like,
day.
that shit's not going to get me anywhere whatsoever. So I have to do other things. I fucking take forever to respond. I told you, like, I take forever to, especially DMs. There's times where I'll respond, like, and so sometimes what happens, too, is, like, I'll look at a DM, and then I'll be like, oh, I'll respond, but in my head. And then I'll just be like, all right,
and then you forget about it.
And then later I'm like, I don't want to fucking...
What I do is I flag them. Like, anything that's business related, you know.
You could prioritize them?
Yeah, by hitting the flag.
Okay.
So then I'll just hit the flag, and then anybody that's answered any or asked any questions, then I'll get back to them. But yeah, I mean, it's a struggle, and whatever works for everybody. Like, you putting your phone away, that's cool. For me, I just put it in airplane mode, and for me, I value sleep. So, like, let's take it back even more. We're talking about before you wake up and go on your run. For me, I value sleep. So every day I'm in bed by 9:30 so that I could be up at 5:30, and I feel good. I feel energized. Because, for many years I would just drink and shit and go out at night or go to sleep late and didn't care about my sleep. And then you're, like, all out of whack. And that plays a big part, too, in your mental health. Like, I don't care what anybody says. Sleep deprivation is real. And sometimes you'll be on your phone, till fucking 2, 3 in the morning. For what? Like, what are you looking for? These apps know what the fuck they're doing to keep you on the app. Like, that's their main job. These fools are literally, like, behind the scenes trying to figure out how they can keep you on the app as long as possible. So because I know that, I'm like, Steph, what the fuck are you doing? Like, put your phone away. Put that shit on airplane mode. It's going to be there tomorrow. Get your sleep and focus on yourself. And I really try not to touch it in the morning, or at least go on my Instagram. Because I don't want my mentality to be disturbed, at least in the morning, like, I just want to, I do the same thing. I would get up and then I'll just go run on my run, and then get a coffee and then come back. And then I look at my DMs and Instagram, and then from there I know it's just going to be crazy all day. But yeah, I mean, I've tried to get better at not consuming it, because you can do both. We got to engage and we got to communicate with people, but now you're just more selective of who and where and how.
Yeah, it's because time, it's, being in the funeral industry, like it just changed, like, the whole, in a sense it changed my perspective, but the reason why I said it changed it was because in the beginning I didn't even understand, like, when I would go to funerals, like, that shit, like, I was just like whatever, but and then as I started growing and I started observing the people, and I would see how the people would act, and then I heard so many speeches, and the speeches is always, oh, I'm sorry I didn't do this for you, I'm sorry I didn't do that for you, or I'm glad I did this, or I'm glad. So I always heard, like, fuck, like what do people regret when someone that they know dies, or what do people regret, or like what are all of these things, and it's really important that you focus your time on what matters, on, like, what's gonna help you grow, like you said, even just hanging the
that's
people.
some deep perspective there, because I would have never put it in that way. But you're right, like, you get to see what people's last words are, or their last words to those last people, right? To these people,
like,
who are
goodbyes,
they're goodbyes, and it could be a lot of regret, and that's what I've heard, like,
it's almost always regret.
Yeah. So yeah, for me, I always think to myself, like, right now I'm at the youngest that I am, and probably the best looking that I'll ever be. So that also helps me step out of my comfort zone to do shit, because I'm like, fuck, if I don't do it now, what am I going to do in 10 years, 20 years? I'm not going to be able to. Or sometimes when I see older people, I'm like, that's going to be me one day. So I want to make sure that whatever I feel like doing in this life, like, just go for it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, don't be fearful, because at some point, you're not even going to be physically capable of doing shit.
That's true.
So while you're out here, like, twiddling your thumbs and shit, like, man, should I do this or not? That's when people ask me, like, you think I should do this? I'm like, yeah, because the thought of you asking is already a triggered thought. Like, you're thinking of doing it, so just fucking do it.
I just did a podcast, right? And like, yesterday in the yesterday in the morning, and the guy was like, hey, bro, like, do you mind if I put on, like, I have this costume? I told that fool, bro, we're on your podcast, do whatever the fuck you want. I told that fool, I was like, straight up, bro, like, don't ever ask anyone, like, just fucking, like, if
don't be apologetic.
If that's you, like, I told that fool, wrong with that shit. Like, I kind
What
of
kind
got
of costume
a
did he
little
have?
offended. I was like, why are you asking me, fool? Like, this is your show.
Yeah.
He just has some sunglasses that has a mustache hanging, and then that's it. But he just had like a little bit more. Like, he's like, oh, it's because some people complain about it. I said, fuck him, fool. Who cares? Like one thing that I wanted to say about I kind of did say it, but like in terms of like going and talking to people, because that's very important, especially if you want to start selling real estate, or if you want to start a business. You have to be able to just go out there and talk to people. And I know for a lot of people it's hard to just be comfortable, like be confident, right? Like it's totally normal to not be confident, but you can't stay like that. You can't like, that's not normal, okay? Like,
but what do you think holds people back from actually doing that, from talking to people or stepping out of their comfort zone?
I'll
tell you, it's always, for me, what I hear, what other people think.
Oh yeah,
always.
Well,
and when you stop giving a fuck about what other people think, it's so freeing. Like, I have a lot of freedom in that. And it's not to say like I really don't give a fuck what you think. I don't mean it like that, but whatever your perception of me in this video in these 5 minutes, whatever conclusion you come about, like, oh, Stephanie's like this and like that, you really don't know me. You know what I mean? 100%. So me knowing that gives me the freedom that I really don't care what people think. And so it's very, I almost can't relate to people now, because I'm like, fuck, like, people really do struggle and think about what other people care about them, or what other people are saying about them, that it cripples them from doing shit. Like, it legit, other people's thoughts bother you so much so that you're not gonna do shit with your life.
Can I tell you what I feel more it is?
What is it?
Like that it's not that people feel what other people are gonna think, but it's 100% it's that. But it's like for example, if I fear, like, I don't want to do this because then this person is gonna think I'm weird. What in reality is you're kind of scared to see yourself as a weird person. So you feel when someone else puts that label on you, you kind of give it that accuracy. You know, you're like, if they call me that, they're right, and that makes me weird. I feel like that's what they're scared of. They're scared of.
Right.
But it's that you can't give a fuck. You can't really care. I feel like a big how to win friends and influence people. You read it? Mm-hmm. That shit is fire. That shit fucking changed. That shit was crazy. Fire. That shit was amazing.
Well, then you're ready for real estate, because we all read that book, right?
That shit was fucking. It's simple things that just bring you confidence, like calling people by, like, one of the ones that stuck was calling people by their first name.
Right.
Like just having that confidence of calling someone by their name. Like, even sometimes when I feel like I don't need to call someone by their name, I'm like, I'm gonna call this person by their name, and I know it's just gonna throw them off so bad, and I'm gonna have them hug like this. Yeah. Like it just works, and you kind of, bro. If you cannot talk to a single person, please read How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Please.
It's a fucking amazing. Like,
yes, that book is game changer.
So you can't be scared of what other people think, but the best way that I can put it is you have to convince yourself of who you are. So I've said this a million times, and I've said it in the.
But how can people? I think that's the hard part, right? Is people really don't get to know themselves. Yeah. Because sometimes we're distracted by relationships, life situations, but like, if you really take the time to go on a self-discovery journey, you'll get to know yourself, and then you'll get to know what you do like, what you don't like. Like, I listen to a shit ton of Abraham Hicks, and she always talks about, if you do more of what you don't want, you'll know what you do want. Technically, that's just saying, like, if you're open to experiences in life, like, do more of what you think you want, and then you're gonna know what you do want and you don't want, and you're gonna get to know yourself on a personal level, and then you're gonna just know how to operate. You get to know yourself, and most people don't do that, because then, you know, they just get caught up with life.
You know, I thought I never that. You know what? That shit just hit me right now.
What?
I think I did that. There was a look. So I've always said this how before social, like, February of last year when I made my Instagram, and before that for several years I didn't have an Instagram, and I didn't have social media, and I didn't realize that literally was.
Oh yeah, like, you were telling me about this. Yeah.
So to me, I just thought I was weird. I was just like, I'm weird. Like, I don't want to fucking deal with that shit. I don't want to get distracted. But during all this time, I was reading more books. I was fucking. I remember fucking when the pandemic hit, like I was doing burpees, and I remember I couldn't when I first day I couldn't do 10, and I still remember the day I did 100 straight, and I was like, what the fuck? How the fuck? Like that shit was like it was like that. Things like that make you like, okay, I can do whatever I want.
You can do it, yeah.
So, but you kind of have to like you. But
you got to take those baby steps.
You have to. I mean, shit. I remember those times after 10. I was gassed. I couldn't do 10 in a row. You break up the sets. I'm going to do 20 sets of 5, and then I'm going to do 10 sets of 10, and then 5 sets of 20, and then eventually, like it just happens, but...
Which translate to real estate, too. Like, when I left my divorce, I didn't think that I'd be able to sell one home, and then I've already sold, like, over... a shitload.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah.
So it just started with one though. Yeah. Then your mind really fucks with you sometimes because you accomplish something that you didn't think you'd be able to accomplish. So now your perception of reality is different. You're like, fuck, this shit is really possible, right? And so you kind of just think a new thought, right? And that's how you welcome new opportunities. And you're like, all right, well, if I was able to do this, what else can I do? And now you set up the bar. And then it never ends. Like, now I want to get into development with the whole ADU stuff. And that's what I like about real estate is that there's so many different ways that it can take you to. But it's the more you want to learn, the more you feel like you want to do. Then you hit a certain goal and then it never stops. Then you set another goal and another goal. And it's just never ending. So I understand that I'm never going to hit my goal. So I got to be in love with the process of who I'm going to become after every level, right? You're just hitting levels. It's a fucking game to this shit. It's just levels.
I like that you said that you're never gonna really reach your goal because I feel like that's something very important when it comes to people's habits.
Yes.
Especially when it comes like I understand that there's people that they're like they love fashion, right? But there's so many people who how can I say it? Like they literally spend money, and I understand 100% you have to spoil yourself, but there's people who literally spend money on a like how can I put it, like thinking that it's gonna solve something,
right?
Or thinking that it's gonna fill the
it's like gonna fill that void of what they feel is needed or whatever.
And the thing is, what I tell people is like, look, If you tell yourself, I feel a little bit bad, whatever, I'm just going to go buy this one shirt or this one pant. It's going to be the same thing. You're never going to fill that goal. And you're going to go on to the next one. And you're going to go on to the next one. And I saw a quote. It was either it's the exact same thing, right? Like the exact same thing with bad or the good habits. It's you're going to get addicted to trying to achieve the next one and the next one.
It's like casino addicts.
Or with drugs, right? You're going to want the next drug, the next drug. But if you focus on work, you're going to want the next work, the next biggest job, the next biggest job.
Right.
And it works the same way, with both things. So it's
whether it's positive or negative, the addiction habit is still there.
You have to focus on what.
Yeah, a lot of these heavy hitters and successful people in real estate, a lot of it is also ego driven too. You know what I mean? It gets to a point where it's like, fuck. And especially, one of the things you had told me that you wanted me to touch on was, which I thought was a good point, is what is it being a woman in the industry?
Right, we didn't even get to that. That's crazy.
Fuck, dude, it's a struggle too. Yeah. That's another layer on top of what we do, right? Because that's kind of why I started doing these real estate meetups too. Everybody that you see up on stage is usually men. And it's usually like either white men or just people that have been in it for a long time, but it's usually men. And even in the development space, it's a lot of men. Yeah. So I wanted to see a change. So I was like, all right, fuck it. I'll just start doing them on my own and I'll start inviting people. And even in trying to find speakers, it's hard to find women, and I want to get more women onto my speaking events. But it's difficult because it's very ego driven. So sometimes you just got to hear them out and kind of just deal with the ego. I've learned to deal with personalities along the way. So sometimes with men, you just got to stroke their ego and have them feel like they're in a position of empowerment.
So what you just said right now, is don't blame the system, just learn how to play the game.
Thank you.
That's exactly and people don't. So when we talk about what you just said, when we said earlier, right? You have to be professional. But one of the most viral videos that I did.
See, I told you I could be professional.
Yeah, exactly. So that's one of the most viral videos that I did, right? And
Yes.
It was. I'm not gonna lie. It was funny, right?
It was
that
fucking
shit,
hilarious.
That shit was
Yes.
that shit was the weirdest. Sometimes I look back at my videos.
But you know that video, I could relate so much because when I'm doing my open house videos or my real estate videos, I'm like, hey guys, you know, this is Stephanie, your local realtor, blah blah blah. And then as soon as I'm done, I'm like, fuck, let's go, fool. It's fucking hot. Like literally, you've got to put yourself into that mode and that personality, but that's all it is.
And I have to, and what I like to tell people is you have to understand that there's a difference. Like that's not being fake.
It's not being fake.
You have to
but,
learn.
Oh my God, did I deal with that at first? I cared about what people would think, and especially like my old friends from high school and homies, you know. I'm like, damn, everybody's probably looking at me on Instagram right now like, this bitch, que se cree, pinche licenciada, you know, like, pinche tacuacha, you know, you grew up with us. Like, all of a sudden you talk like a white girl, blah, blah, blah. I don't care anymore. But was it important for me at some point? Hell yeah, because I was like, fuck, what are they going to say? Like, oh, now she's all professional. And I know they still talk shit nowadays. But you do it for so long that people respect you after a while. So at first, yes, people are judging you, blah, blah, blah. But then you put in the work and you put in the time. And then people respect what you do. Now I have high school friends that I've sold houses to. I have cousins that are like, damn, prima, I see you. Like, you're doing well. Wow, you know how to speak in front of people. Like, they're not judging me. And the ones that are, I don't care. Yeah, like, it is what it is. But at first, I was very self-conscious because I didn't used to talk like this. I would talk like how we all talk in the hood. You know what I mean? And I had to outgrow that, too. But it's not being fake. And for a long time, I would struggle with my own thoughts. Like, am I being fake? Like, is this some fake shit? Nah, this is just playing the game. Like, literally, everybody does it. So why is it any different for us? Why? Because our society, like, somos bien buenos para criticar right away, right?
You know, I wanna get into that because
I was at
a funeral. I was at a funeral, and this is what I love about funerals the most is you know, I don't go to church, but I grew up with a very religious mom, and I mean, that's just boring. I don't want to go to church, but like, it's just like when I go to the cemetery and I listen, the priest. I don't give a fuck what you think about religion, what you think about priests. They're almost always spitting nothing but facts. Always. Especially at a funeral. There's no time to lie at a funeral. Yeah. Like, these fools are always saying the fucking truth and shit. And so the guy was saying, I was like, we really, like, so many people, like, just be judging, like for no reason. And it's like, fool, you have to understand. And this goes, okay, this is what I wanted to say. Is to other people that like try to cancel people on the internet. Fool, you're mad because no one ever accepted you. First of all, why are you trying to fucking ruin other people's lives?
Exactly.
Like, what the fuck? Like that shit make like. And then two, you can't even cancel someone because this shit's social media and there's real life in real life. Fool, fuck, get out of your fucking ass and get in real life. So it's like people on the internet, they're always so quick to like judge, and we're gonna. What am I doing right now? I'm judging those people that are judging. I 100%, I'm aware of this. I don't give a fuck. But I'm telling you the truth. So look, so it's
but
like,
it's facts though.
Yeah. So it's like you can't like you can't judge other people unless you're fucking ready to get fucking like just destroyed. Unless you're ready to sit on a fucking stage and have everyone throw every single rock at you. You can't open up about anyone else's life.
Yeah,
you're not
seriously.
ready for that because
you ain't ready for that. Thank you.
Because the way that I see it is like don't like I make shit like I judge myself all the time, and maybe even I shouldn't do that. You know,
right?
Maybe I should fucking be nicer on myself or whatever the case may be. But it's always like when I see someone judging someone or whenever I feel like judging someone, I'm gonna get judged. And that's it. That's enough for me to be like, never mind.
Yeah, because you know that if your mind is doing that, what makes you think everybody else isn't judging?
And the thing is, people, they don't feel like someone is ever gonna judge them, or they feel like they got judged so much where it's normal, and it's like, nah, you have to stop that because you're never gonna be happy if you're judging everyone else.
Right.
Like you can't you're never gonna focus on you. You're never gonna do whatever the fuck you have to do. You're never gonna fucking nothing. Like you if you like
at the end of the day, like we're all a human race here, so we're all trying to better ourselves like 1% a day. And honestly, in my circle's gotten so small, like if you're not in my ear giving me positive motivation on like, yes, you can do this, you can do that, I don't want you in my life. Yeah. But it's taking years of practice too to cut people off, and I'm quick quick to cut people off, especially if they're negative. I just don't want to be around it because at the end of the day, we all have choices, right? So we can either kick it with the people that are going to empower you, or you can go hang out with the same bums, you know, that you've been kicking it with that are going to be like, nah, you shouldn't do that.
Like me,
you know?
like me, I would say like, if like the way that the best way that I'll be able to like cut someone off is if you come with me like, hey, you know, like, so you want to talk about fucking someone else, or like I hate when people come up to me and they're like, hey, how's so and so, or where's so and so, and I'm like, fool, I'm me. I worry about me. I don't give a fuck about anyone else. Like, that shit frustrates me so much. I remember yesterday the guy asked me about a pet peeve. And then I didn't say this, but like that really frustrates me a lot when people want to ask me about other people's business. Yeah, because I give two flying fucks and I don't want to share it, especially now with you, because that's not your business either. And if it was, then you would be talking to that person. So why the fuck
are you asking me?
Yeah,
it's all that baby talk, right? Yeah. Like I don't really handle small talk well either anymore.
I don't like talking to. I mean, I'm nice as fuck. Like I told you, I'm nice as fuck. When people come to me, I'm nice as fuck. I have a whole conversation. I have people that literally, I'm gonna say this right now. I have people that DM me, oh, it was nice meeting you. You're such a nice person, blah blah. And I see it, and I'm like, all right, cool. Like I don't even respond to it. It's like sometimes I feel like an asshole, but it's like honestly, I don't give a fuck. I'm gonna tell people something. Like people, like if you get offended because I ignored you, I guarantee you, in order for me to get to where I was at right now, I got ignored more times than you can count.
Exactly.
100%. Yeah. So what I tell people, so sometimes when people get mad or when people, I remember one time some fool that I know, that fool asked me, he's like, hey bro, he's like, damn, you're like, I hadn't seen him in a long time, and then he saw me, he's like, damn bro, like you're kicking ass, you know, you're doing good, like, but like, you know, like for me, like I don't know, like I'm kind of stuck, like I can't get people to listen to me, and I told him, fool, you don't need nobody to listen to you. Absolutely no fuck with, like, fool, you gotta go out there and do it. Like it's like and then he's like blah 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 blah, and then I got busy and I didn't respond to him. But there's your lesson, fool. You don't need people to like. You don't like.
You don't.
Because a big reason why I also deleted my social media was because I remember like back in the day trying to socialize with people. I wasn't a type of person that people would want to hang out. Yeah. I would work a lot, fucking, you know, and then I was. My school was small, my high school, so everyone kind of knew me. Especially, I was the only ginger in school, so everyone knew
Everybody
who the fuck
knew
I was.
The white guy.
But yeah, but it wasn't exactly. But it wasn't. It was never like. And me myself, I haven't really been that good. I'm not really that good with friendships either, because I'm not a fan of small. I'm not gonna hit you up. I'm gonna keep it up. I'm not gonna hit you up and be like, hey, what are you doing? If I'm doing something, I'll be like, hey, if I'm gonna do something, you want to pull up. That's what I consider the hangout. I don't have friends. I tell people I don't have friends. I have homies. I have a couple of homies that I hang out with. Those are just the fools that I know and that I hang out with. If I have free time, if I don't have anything to do,
right,
and I need to like fucking, you know, just fucking go fucking
hang out.
We're gonna go play basketball, fucking whatever the fuck the case may be, whatever it is that we're gonna do. Just a handful of people. And I've met so many people on the social media stuff, and so many of them are cool. I like a lot of people that I've met, and I'm the type of person that I never hit any of them up. I tell people like, bro, I don't reach out to people. Like, I'm sorry, like, but I promise you, all of this had to do with people. Like, sometimes I have conversations with myself, right? And then like and it's the same thing. Like, what are people gonna think? I'll be like, damn, what are people gonna think? Because I didn't respond to them. And then I tell myself, fool, remember. I literally just have to remind yourself. Remember how many times you got ignored. Yeah. Remember how many times. remember how many times you got ignored, and all of that made me leave social media. Because I was like, what am I here for? I was like, I'm not even socialize with people. Most of the people I want to fucking talk to, they don't respond to me. And then later on, I understood. These people were just busy with them. I didn't have nothing to bring to the table.
Right.
So I don't hit up people like, hey, can I get a favor? Never. Hey, my boy, I got this for you. Can you do this for me if I do this? Now we're talking business.
Exactly. Yeah.
But other than that, it's like I don't like to reach.
Same. There has to be some sort of business exchange or value exchange. It doesn't always have to be business related, but like, how can I help you? Yeah. How can you help me? And how can we help each other in our business growth venture, whatever? Exactly. But just to hang out, like, hey, what are you doing? Let's go kick it. Like, unless it's, that's why I consider my meetups, my real estate meetups, my parties, or basically, right? My flyer parties.
Yeah, yeah. You're fucking
yeah. I'm about to start charging at the door.
What is it? Well, bring your own.
Yeah, I need the NOS tank. Remember? Remember?
Not everyone's selling real estate. Fucking inhaling balloons and shit.
Yeah. Everybody's gonna be in there with the NOS tank. You know, the NOS tank for $1, and then
no, 2 for $5, 2 for $5.
Oh shit, is that what it is now?
2 for $5.
Damn, fucking inflation. They used to be $1 when I was in high school.
Definitely not $1 now.
Yeah.
I mean, I've honestly never tried it.
Me neither. I never even tried it, but I remember like going to flyer parties back when they were a thing.
Yeah, it's fucking.
So yeah, that's my way of hanging out now, and anything real estate related, like. I still go out and hang out, but it's all real estate related. If it's a real estate event, then we're hanging out there, and because it's just a full-time sport, you know, in order, like, you know, to play the game and not blame the system, you got to just be in it to win it. Yeah. And the only way that I can better myself is kicking it with people who are doing better than me. So I hang out with people that are doing way better than me on the financial scale and just better in life because it motivates me. Yeah. Before... I used to be more of like a hater, like, oh, how come they have all that, or how do they do all that? And now I'm just inspired. So it's a shift in your mindset, you know, because where we come from too, we're just always taught to hate. And I think what's helped me in sales is I've been roasted since my younger years. Like, you know, as a Latina in our culture, like my cousins and uncles, they're ruthless. And my mom and my dad, like I used to be roasted all the time. So I'm used to rejection and being told shit, and I'm okay with it. Like, I know how to brush it off, you know? So I think it's also having thick skin in the game, for sure. Oh,
yeah. Because...
you can't be a baby about this shit. Yeah. And take anything personal, right? Like, you just cannot take things personal.
I feel like that's an important one. Like... you have to learn how to, like you have to have like the way that I could put it is like you have to be able to close 1 year. So that what that means is that like you have to be able to listen to people, and when it's nothing good, you have to let it come out through the other year. And when you know that it's something of value, you have to stop it so that it stays. Like you have to be able to
yeah, like you got to know how to filter out thoughts. Yeah. Not only your own personal thoughts, but ideas that are being thrown at you, or just other people's beliefs on how you should be living your life. Like, you know, I even with negative thoughts or other people's thoughts and comments, like look at it this way. You get the thought that comes in, right? Like you would on a drive or a computer.
You get the notification.
And then you get the notification, which would be the thought. Yeah. And then what do? You distribute it. So you download the file, and then you distribute it, and you put it in its folder. No different. When you have negative thoughts, I'm like, all right, this motherfucker goes here into the negative trash folder. And now let me welcome new thoughts. And being grateful always grounds me. So when I'm thinking negative thoughts, I'm like, all right, let me take it back to basics. I'm breathing. I'm good. I'm healthy as fuck. My kid's healthy. I like all that then brings me back to a gratitude state of mind. And now I have a different framework. Now I'm like not focused on the negative shit, you know?
Yeah, I think that's something that I really struggle with, because we
all do though. Yeah, because it's a work in progress.
Yeah, because realistically, like, almost any negative thought could easily be like overtaken by something positive, oh fuck, like I don't even fucking have bread. Oh, but I have cheese. That's
yeah.
Yeah. Fuck it, I got cheese. I could eat some cheese. I could put cheese on the tortilla. You make shit work, you know. But if you really focus on the fuck, I don't have bread. You're gonna starve. You're literally gonna starve. When the fridge could be full, but if you focus on the fact that you don't have bread, you're gonna starve.
And translating that into money, let's say bread is money, right? If you're always in a constant thought of I don't have enough money, I don't have enough money, I don't have money, I don't have money, you're gonna keep attracting that same thought, that same vibration, and your ass is gonna be broke forever. Right. Whereas instead of saying I don't have money, I'm broke, what can I do about it? What habits or changes can I make to actually put some money in my pocket and get the fuck out of the situation that I'm in right now? Versus you saying I don't have any, because then you're never gonna have any,
Yeah.
right?
It's like the today when I came back from the no, actually when I went to the run yesterday, I got a notification on my email that like, I have an Audible account that I didn't even know I had, and it said like I had like 13 outstanding credits and shit. And I was like, oh, those are free books.
Shit,
I was like, what
13
the fuck?
books.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I was like, what the fuck? I didn't even know I had all this shit. So I was like, you know, I'm gonna I downloaded a couple last night, and then when I went to go run, I was listening to one, and it's Unfuck Yourself. I think that's what it's called.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah. So I was listening to it, and it was pretty good because so what he said was the brain is like literally meant to be unconquerable. So your brain, so what he was saying is like dead ass, like if you fucking like if your brain says, hey, I'm this, your body's gonna do that because your brain can never be wrong.
Right.
Like your brain, you're always gonna try and that's why it's the exact same thing that you're saying. When you keep saying all of these things, like that's exactly what's gonna keep happening, and that's what I told you. Sometimes your biggest fears happen.
Yeah, because you're attracting that, right?
My biggest fear,
True.
my whole life, my entire whole fucking life, my biggest fear was losing my mom. She passed away. It's been over a year. I'm still here. And it's like that was and then fuck, like when it happened, I was like, fuck, I knew I shouldn't have been scared of that, because I told myself, you know, like maybe if I was scared, I could have prolonged it. You know, you can't prolong shit. Like whatever's gonna happen is gonna happen. But like I was like, fuck, like that's really real. Like that really hit me. Like the shit that you fear is really what you're gonna attract. Like and
how was that like for you?
What?
I mean, obviously, like, it's painful to lose a parent, but then you being so fearful about it and then it happened. Like, how did you overcome that? Because obviously you're still here. You're still standing.
Okay. So, the thing is, I kind of understood that. I kind of understood that before. I kind of understood that sometimes you attract what you fear, and not just that. My mom had cancer for over a year and some change. So it was like me being in the funeral industry and just having negative thoughts. The hardest part, I'm gonna keep it a buck. The hardest part was when I found out that my mom had cancer, because that's when the thoughts of her dying were more painful than when she actually died. Because she was still alive, and I was thinking about
her death.
I haven't done all this shit that I wanted to do for her, and you know, you're a cancer. I was like, fuck, I'm not gonna wake up tomorrow. Like, what the fuck? Like, you know, like you, like it's just like crazy and shit. You know, but she was mom was a warrior. She fucking fought cancer. It went away for a little bit, and then it came back, and then whatever the fuck the case may be.
Fuck cancer.
Yeah, fuck. But it was like, it kind of the fact that she was sick for a long time kind of prepared me for it, but it was I was very understanding of what it is that I had to do so that I wouldn't regret it later on. So I did that. I mean, just the other day I was literally fucking doing something, and I was thinking like that. I remember every night my mom would ask me to make her own meal, and I would, without hesitation, all right. Because I knew that one day she wasn't gonna, and these are like what I tell you, like when I see things at the funeral and I hear the regret, you know, always I should have done this, always I should have done that. I knew it. So what people have to understand is that fool, we're all gonna die, and like
you gotta start doing it now.
Yeah, and I know that we all want money, you know, we all want to progress in life, but fool, sometimes you gotta stop neglecting the people that are there. Fucking, I saw a podcast, some fool that was talking about fucking his mom and his grandma lived 2 blocks from his house, and he would go like 8 months without even visiting them because he was so busy working, trying to make money, trying to live life. And that fool said, like, fuck, like later on, like I pay for it. Like I realized that, you know, and that's the reality of it. So when you know something, when you always have to do like I feel like that kind of.
Well, I think that goes because that goes hand in hand with being able to like foresee the future, right? Like,
yeah,
we operate on a day-to-day basis, and we don't even think about it. Like, if you think about it, a lot of us are just like fucking robots out here just doing shit on the day-to-day, and we don't understand why we're doing what we're doing or why we move the way we move, and we never stop to think like, okay, what is my life really gonna look like in the next 10 years, 15 years, and really like put it in perspective. We think we're gonna fucking be around forever. That's the reality of it. We never play the card of death because a lot of people fear it, right? But it's ironic because if you fear death, then you're never gonna be able to live. Does that make sense? So then like you kind of deprive yourself from living because you're so fearful of death and you don't want to touch the matter. But if you actually did face the reality, like I think about that shit a lot, and especially with my mom too. Like, luckily I still have both of my parents alive, but I think about it now that I'm 32, my mom's older, and my dad's getting older. I think about like, okay, I got at least another good 10, 15, 20 years with them. Like, I really got to take care of them, take care of myself, and be there. Like, try to be more present, because you're right. Like, your shit, you can get caught up in wanting to be successful and wanting to do this and that. But at the end of the day, like, you're not going to hit your goals anyway, because you're always going to be ambitious to want to do more. So never forget about the shit that feeds your soul, which is family, you know? Yeah. Like, for me, it's my son. Yeah. And then my parents now. But before I had my kid, it was like my mom and my dad for sure. Now I want to make sure he knows too. Like, everything that I'm learning, I want to make sure he builds confidence, and he's very grounded and he's good with himself, you know? But then also, like, is very family oriented, because that shit is rare nowadays. Yeah. Everybody's moving so quickly. They don't realize. Like, one of my friends, Amy, she's a realtor too, and her mom passed away during COVID. And that shit hit home because we live, like, you know, we grew up in the same neighborhood. And when Amy's mom died, it was during COVID. And she was in Vegas. So she left to Vegas for the weekend and left on a Friday. And then by Monday, her mom was gone. So when that shit happened, it gave me perspective. I was like, fuck, that could have been my mom. Then I told my mom, and I started crying with her. And I was like, Amy's mom died. And she's like, ya ves, cabrona? Like, and I was like, okay, I know, but you know, I'm just putting it put it in perspective for me, and for my mom too, because now ever since then we've had a much better relationship, you know, because my mom's like tough love too. Yeah. So when I told her that, she's like, ya ves, por eso hay que llevárnoslas bien. Yeah. You know, like she still wouldn't apologize or be like, oh, she'll blame it on you. Like, this is how you have to behave. Yeah, and at this point, I just gotta laugh it off. Yeah. Like, I'm not the teenager that's gonna go at it toe to toe with my mom anymore. Like, I love her. She's who she is, and I only got one mother, and she ain't gonna be around forever. So that was a big eye opener, and that happened. It's gonna be a year that Amy's mom passed away. So I even took her flowers for Mother's Day. Like, I don't know, some weird shit too. Like, I've never been into ghosts and spirituality, like ghosts coming and talk to me. But when her mom died, I swear to God, I was in the shower. And I felt like Amy's mom told me, tell Amy that she's going to be okay, that God's going to give her the strength that she needs. And I hit up Amy. I was like, yo, I just had this weird ass feeling, and don't think I'm fucking high or tripping, you know? But I legit felt your mom's presence telling me to give you the fucking strength that you need right now, because I know your ass is hurting. Like, your mom was everything. And she's really close to her mom, you know, was really close to her mom. So, yeah, ever since then, like, me and Amy became closer. But that experience, living it so close, changed my attitude with my mom and my dad too. You know, with both. Now I'm more grounded, and I'm like, okay, every time I spend with them, I gotta cherish it, you know, because they're here one day and then the next they're not. And not just our parents, us too. You know what I mean? So you gotta do shit for yourself too. Yeah. And like, really just not care about what other people think, because you just got one life. And it's like, short. I feel like, you know, sometimes the hard part with parents is having to be the bigger person. Yeah, yeah. Even though they're older and you want them to be the bigger person. But look, they're older, but I feel like we're all kids at heart. Oh, yeah. All of us. You know, we're all kids at heart, and we're all little kids trying to struggle or fight through our traumas. You know, so like my mom and my dad, yeah, they're hardcore Mexicans and fucking like, you know, bien regañones and whatever. But they were raised probably 10 times worse. Yeah, like, once you understand, then you can forgive. Was it Think Like a Monk? Yes. This about understanding, right? Understanding. So important. Fuck yeah. Dude, that fucking book, I honestly, I'll take that one over How to Influence and Influence People. No, but that book, you're switching it up now. No. Look, that book, I didn't even read it. I heard the audio book. Okay. But just that fool, the author too, that fool, like you know, just so calm speaking and everything. But that book was a real game changer in terms of that understanding, and two, just
focusing on yourself, bringing peace to yourself, being there for yourself, doing what you want, having a purpose. You know, the whole I think it's the Dharma thing. That's what it's called, right?
Yes,
having a
yes.
purpose, like all that stuff. Like that book is fucking amazing. But that one important thing, understanding that to me, especially when I do with everything, especially when I go out and sometimes because the thing is, I'll go to 2 or 3 funerals during the day, and then at night I have to go to an event where it's a completely different environment.
Yeah,
it's so crazy. Sometimes my days are so like, fuck, dude, like what the fuck, like it's like it's.
And I don't know how you do it, because one of my uncles passed away last week, and I hadn't been
sorry
to.
to hear that.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks for that. And it was my uncle, when my mom moved from Mexico and she was pregnant with me, she moved into his house, my tío's house. So it was like her second dad, basically. It's my grandpa's brother. Well, he passed away, and that's the only reason why I went to the funeral, because I don't even go to family parties anymore. I don't do any of that shit. I haven't seen my family in years from my mom's side. So I go to the funeral and everybody's fucking crying, and just the energy in a funeral, like, how do you deal with all of that energy, right? And it's hard, like you said, you go from a funeral setting to then now a fucking full-on party, and you gotta play the role, right? Yeah. Again, you gotta play the game and don't blame the system.
Yeah, that's exactly how it works. So my fucking camera got full of memory, so that's how you know this episode was fun. And
hell yeah!
So right now you guys are just gonna be watching Steph from her camera, but you guys can still hear me. So, all right, guys. So we're gonna go ahead and wrap this up. So I want to give a special shout out to Steph for coming and sharing all her information. So
thank you for having me.
Hopefully we could come on again, and then we'll do more
Oh, we're definitely having a part 2.
Yeah, like more like you gotta teach these people real estate, you know?
Yeah, for sure. This
was definitely fun though.
We were talking about, I do have a course that I'm working on, so maybe on the next one we'll roll out with that and kind of just give them a sneak peek of it, and then
Yeah, we'll work on that. I'll help you work on that for sure. We're gonna work on that together. So fucking make sure you guys stay tuned for that. If you guys do want to go ahead and fucking learn about real estate and all that stuff, make sure you guys follow Steph Sal's Home. So we're gonna go ahead and leave it right there on the thingy, so you fools can go ahead and see it. If you're watching this on Apple Podcasts or on Spotify, I appreciate you guys. Thank you. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you fools like, comment, and subscribe. And follow the Instagram is DBT System, where I go ahead and sometimes randomly I share clips of me trying to be inspirational. Usually the clips where I try to be inspirational is usually when I'm not really in the best mood and I'm like, what should I do? I'm like, I'm gonna try to be inspirational so I can inspire myself. And that's what happens. So thank you guys for tuning in to the episode 6 of the Don't Blame the System podcast. Shout out to Steph Sal's Home. So this was an amazing episode. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. So catch you guys next time. Laters.